We'll be back.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quest for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
And we're back for game 2 in this best of 3 showdown as EG duke it out with NP. Or sorry, best of 3, I mean best of 5. It's going to be a long one. I'm LD, and I am joined here by Merlini. Ben, the picks were very different in that game number 1. And this game number 2, we'll see a slight adjustment in bans with EG removing the Jakiro. I kind of doubt we're going to see EG started off with a Benno pick.
Unlikely. Probably figured they had one game and a full round in a BO5, although perhaps not with the last way the BO3 went.
NP taking their time to open up the draft. So, what does NP like to run? What are kind of their go-to picks here? They did that a lot in the previous day, and then they didn't even pick either one once in their series against Complexity. But yeah, it was like Sven Invoker every game prior to that, so wonder if they're going to open with it. I guess the one downside is that's probably an opening EG if game plans for more. And so NP are going to keep it open-ended. They're going to start with the Timber Saw, but they're not going to show a predictable draft to get things underway.
Yeah, Timbersaw is good versus the other common openers. Like I've seen Axe a fair amount as an opener. Saiyan King is one of the more common first picks. And he's like pretty good versus both of them, I would say. And it's also a nice hood carrier, which is always pretty important for them.
Warlock the grab by EG, so they get a strong, likely support. Though we have seen a little bit of core lock here and there.
Their team fight was awful last game.
And now they grab the bat. So they have good lockdown here for the Timber Saw, some pure damage from the Fatal Bonds. And as you mentioned,
it is sadly not pure damage anymore.
Oh, is it not?
No, it does the same damage type that like the source deals.
Gotcha.
Or that is dealt to the source.
When did that get changed?
Not that long ago, but
I'm just curious now.
I don't know. Warlock kind of like wasn't picked for a while. I forget why they changed it, but
6.88.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that was actually it was a little while ago.
Well, a little while ago, probably the last time I saw Warlock pick before this, like last.
That's the Flaming Fist got changed. Yeah, it must have been reworked a while ago, or it's not here in the patch notes.
There you go. 6.82.
Well, that. Oh yeah, now he uses the same damage type, but still. That's a while ago, actually.
Yeah, HP removal was OP. Actually, it wasn't OP because Warlock was still never picked.
You can't be overpowered if you don't have any power to begin with. But Venge will be the grab by NP. So we've seen the carry Venge a lot for AUI 2000, and I imagine likely the way they're going to run it, it could potentially be a support, but does give them a good solution to the lasso. I think you've brought this up before when we were casting Venge, that the downside if it is a carry Venge versus bad is like normally you want Venge to be as unappealing as possible to lasso, but if she's a core, then she's generally more worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it goes. I don't know.
I agree with me.
The thing is they swap roles a lot though. Like they can easily switch things up. I guess same with EG too. Sometimes like last game, maybe people expected it to be a Venno core, but they switched up last minute with the anti-mage, so unsure. Also, I've seen a lot more pipes recently, and like Batrider just struggles a decent amount versus pipe, especially on a hero that can farm it quite early like the Timber Saw.
So they will grab the Ursa ban now for NP. Trying to take away like a more up-tempo hero who can threaten Roshan, who can potentially punish the Timber Saw in the laning stage.
Yeah, that was their biggest issue. Like Darkseer, he had the TP early last game, but aside from that, the supports didn't do anything. They like ran around a lot. They didn't get levels. They weren't able to pull. They didn't counter gank. They weren't able to counter gank either, and their smoke gank failed on the mid lane. So like they just completely rendered them ineffective for like the first 15 minutes of the game. So I think this game they want to do the same thing. You ban out the Ursa, and then there's not really another like melee hero that can stand up to Timber Saw one-on-one. I like Jug gets Jug can't really. Jug's like okay, I suppose, because he has a lot of sustain and a lot of non-physical damage, but he's still like not that amazing. I think Ursa's like one of the ones that can actually like zone out a Timbersaw from doing stuff. The Axe matchup is okay if your Axe gets a few levels on Timbersaw, but I really haven't seen EG run position 1 Axe, so that's not really an option for them. And then every other one just gets bullied out.
Enchantress ban now, something that we have seen from NP with a lot of effect at times, and with the Venge already picked up, there's some strong push potential as well as roaming presence. Is EG gonna remove that? Oh, you do see the OD ban against Timber.
I like to see Sky used by EG once in a while. I don't think they pick it up very often, but
Skyref.
yeah, it's been really good in the North American games that we've seen. It's really good for his Timbersaw super long duration silence. Like you can get a pipe, but you're still probably gonna die to a max ancient seal plus the what's his ultimate called? Mystic Flare. And then they also have good burst with the Bat Rider. I felt like last game they just were all in on damage with the Anti-Mage. And the Veno didn't have enough levels. Rubik doesn't really do that much damage unless he steals something godly. And then DK was very underfarmed. So I think they needed like a secondary source of damage. Oh, Omni Knight.
Ooh.
Oof, that's rough. They don't have a good way to deal with him.
They haven't picked their carry yet, though, and there are definitely some Diffusal Blade carriers out there.
Yeah, Jug's probably like probably the most solid one.
But yeah, like you said, you need a Diffusal Blade carrier that also can do okay against Timbersaw, and that is a very limited pool.
Yeah, PL's one of the best Diffusal carriers, but probably one of the worst versus Timbersaw. What else is there? Murana?
Naga,
Murana's
who's banned, and there's the Jug. Good call.
Yeah, Jug's like the only one that's really good, unless you want to pick Naga, which completely changes your playstyle generally. So Juggernaut's the one that you can fit into most strategies, and can carry Diffusal, and is decent laning versus Timbersaw. So that's Team NP. Who do they want to pair with the Omni Knight? Omni Knight is just not a hero that you pick into any lineup. He needs to be paired with someone who can really utilize the repel well, generally.
EG's turn to ban.
Okay, Terrorblade, very high armor hero. If he is repelled, they can do nothing to him. Omni Slash isn't going to do anything, right clicks aren't going to do anything. You can drop the rock maybe, but...
They can lasso him.
Yeah, you can lasso him. But
and then watch him not die.
And then watch yourself get sundered and destroyed.
And torn asunder and turned.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it does. And man, if Envy can ever find a way to play Terrorblade, he's a happy man. This is an Envy special.
Their anti-push is actually pretty terrible too.
I remember when, was it Cloud9, where they picked like Terrorblade like 8 games in a row or something? I think they even lost a lot of those games, but he just loved the hero. Times have changed though. It's definitely a new day as EG going for the 5th ban up against some pretty fearsome siege potential now. Have to see what NP want to do to round out the draft, but likely they've got 2 of their cores. Actually, I should say 3 of their cores, assuming if it is a carry Venge, but with the Terrorblade pick, maybe a bit less likely. Curious to see exactly how they're going to lane this. I imagine the MSS Timbersaw, and I guess that is the interesting question, Ben, is generally when they've run Terrorblade in the past, it's been Envy, but he's the mid player normally for the team. So are we going to see an AUI 2000 Terrorblade?
Yeah, he plays it.
Okay.
The thing is, the thing about AUI, he plays like any carry. Like, I'm pretty sure like almost any carry. Maybe not Meepo, but everything else I'm sure he would do well on. He's probably one of the most versatile carries that I know.
And that's probably the best Terrorblade counter out there with the Aghanims.
Yeah, not as big a deal with the Omni Knight, but it is still very, very annoying to push into. You just get destroyed by the Aether Eggs.
Yeah, even if your main hero doesn't die, you're going to lose all the illusions in short order. So,
and they don't have a good way to actually deal with them. So last pick could be, what?
5 seconds remaining.
Storm also pairs well. He's like decent with Omni Knight, but I think they could.
So we're assuming a support Venge, I guess, with this Terrorblade pick.
Likely, yeah. I would assume so. I would assume as much because like I think support Venge works better versus the Bat Rider, and Terrorblade works better in the mid lane.
An MSS on the Timber, so yeah, then you need an Envy hero to round things out.
Honestly, I think they could go Razor again. Razor's
how about
good versus them.
Invoker? Is that too greedy?
I would prefer someone with more physical damage to synergize better with the Vengeful Spirit. And
Cost Exhort, not enough?
it's all right, I think, but like I also think it synergizes better with the Omni Knight. You can like repel him and he can just run in, like no big deal. The Invoker, like you can repel him and save him, but it's like if he gets lassoed, you're still like not in that great of a spot. I don't know. I think it just fits overall a little bit better with the lineup. But okay, so it looks like it will be a core Venge that you mentioned, and then
What are the
mid-tier?
lanes here, though?
Let's see.
Because, like, normally the Venge is safe lane, but they already have the Terrorblade. He's not really the best offensive tri-lane.
A lot of teams run
Yeah.
offlane Omni Knight, but that would mean Envy would play Timber, which I don't really see happening here.
I guess it's like Omni Spirit Breaker. No, yeah, I don't even know.
I think
Assuming
it's
it's a core Venge.
Yeah, core Venge. It could be core Omni too. I'm not sure.
These are going to be weird lanes for NP. Definitely a big departure from what they normally do.
So EG, they still don't have the best way to deal with Spirit Breaker. He just runs at him.
Well, they get a hero that's difficult to kill with the Spirit Breaker anyway, grabbing the Medusa. And that will conclude the draft. So it's a Sumail Dusa. Sumail on some very, like, farm-heavy... Well, Idea is not normally farm-heavy, but the way he played it certainly was. And now definitely a hero that needs to be spending a lot of me time, not the most aggressive ganker. And it's not
Synergizes way better with the Bloodlust, so I think if you pick Ogre, you need a hero like that, who you just pump up. Pump him up.
I don't know. Deuce is like a decaying corpse. Is she really getting pumped up? Look at that face.
Yeah. Her
Maybe with some Botox, you know?
her snakes can slither even faster on her head.
Do you want that?
Doesn't sound like a bad thing.
Isn't she gonna
She's
lose
trying
her,
to scare people.
Isn't she gonna lose her balance then? You know,
It's Medusa.
those snakes are heavy. They probably weigh more than her legs.
But
or well,
she
tail.
doesn't have legs. She's like a snake.
Her like tail thing. I don't know.
She slithers around. She doesn't need balance. She's fine. GG.
It's not a Sumail hero, Ben. I do not approve.
It works well with Drow Ranger. Without the Drow, I think it's
I do have to say that Arteezy has a 100% success rate at calling GG before the game has begun.
Nice.
And then going on to lose the game. So, if Arteezy doesn't believe in the draft before the game begins, it's not looking great for EG. But yeah, overall, on a more serious note, whose draft do you like better here, Ben? And
I would say it's more even.
What are you looking for as like the key strategic points moving forward?
Well, getting defuse on Juggernaut and winning their safe lane is very important for EG. MSS got way too much out of the offlane, and supports did not get enough. I talked about that a couple of times. So EG need to make sure that their supports actually are able to do a lot in the early game, especially if they don't go for greedy builds. I think like last game if they went for like Iron Talon on the Veno and then just let MSS farm, it's like whatever. But they committed like a Windlace build onto the Veno. So they need to make sure if Zai goes for a roaming build, he either gets kills or prevents kills from happening, as well as secure runes, which they also had issues with last game. Of course, they always need to get farm in their Medusa and their Juggernaut, because those are pretty important heroes to get farm on. Aside from that, I guess keep Omni Knight very under-leveled if they possibly can. He's played by SVG this game. So it will be an EE Terrorblade, an AUI Venge, and an MSS Timbercell.
And Envy's going mid, so that's the kind of
curveball.
cheeky laning adjustment they're going to make. But against the Dusa, not particularly adept at killing or harassing. I suppose the Mystic Stake will be a bit annoying.
It's super annoying. Terrorblade does not have that much HP, and he doesn't have that much mana, so the Mystic Snake's gonna do a lot against him. I guess he just uses mana on cooldown though.
He's probably going to farm better there than bottom though, right?
Yeah, he's I think more vulnerable to the bat
30 seconds to battle.
in that lane.
So it's kind of a forced out laning setup based on an unusual last pick to round things out, but could well work out for NP here. They did pull Envy some tangos, and potentially one of these supports is going to sit behind him. But up against an Ogre, it's not really just the Dusa you have to worry about. It's a lot of lane pressure, and it
They're
looks like
aggroing,
EG
though.
is going aggressive, recognizing that NP's lanes are not only weird, they're a bit weak, and they want to punish that.
Battle begins.
Yeah, the Omni Knight Whenever you see Omni Knight, it's a good sign to pressure their safe lane. He's like pretty weak in their safe lane. I think he's like okay in offlane or dual offlane, but it just makes their safe lane extremely weak because he like level 1 the heal is like very underwhelming. If you get Degen Aura, all you do is slow people and they'll just like right click you down, especially if they have range heroes. So I think it's a good call by them to make. SVG looks like he's going to start heading bottom. They do have an observer ward scattered out. I believe it saw. I'm not sure how many heroes it saw actually. But now it will see crit, so that is pretty much the affirmation that it is aggro.
Yeah, this is a strong tri-lane with the Ignite slow to set up the Blade Fury, a heavy harassment support in the form of the Warlock. Now, Grant Advantage is not the most farm-reliant core.
She does have the stick early, though. That will help a lot, especially with the way that they just already casted 2 spells on her. So I like how well AUI is prepared for this.
Well, Envy's going to have his work cut out for him here. He already committed the Metamorphosis, and he lost all his mana. Conjure Image being skilled up. But this Metamorph is about to end, and then the real fun begins.
Yeah, it's a tough lane. For sure.
And this is before you even look at the Ogre potentially coming in. And with the Jug in the offlane, one of the more survivable cores there.
They got the
might
pull
be able
off.
to do that.
Crit doesn't look like he's able to interrupt the pull.
Oh, wow. Universe solo killing MSS top. Dives him at the tower.
MSS was still level 1 with the reactive. Uh-oh.
Universe already level 3 after that kill. He even I guess he bought the TP scroll after he died.
It's probably one of those situations where like you get your range creep tonight and then you don't get level 2. I didn't see it though, but I can assume that it was something like that because he just hit level 2.
Really good play there by Universe. We had a strong showing in game 1 to make it close for EG. And that is the kind of start they're hoping for. Double mangoes.
Their safe lane though is gonna, or rather EG's offlane is going pretty well too. Arteezy, like he body blocked the pool camp. They were able to get 1 pull off, but now they have like a double wave pushing into them, and yeah, Venge is okay without that much farm though.
They do have good setup here for the heal bomb with that Magic Missile, but obviously the Blade Fury dodge is always a concern, and Arteezy has skilled the Healing Ward nice and early. So a bit of regen. MSS trying to bounce back in this top lane, but Universe has the boots advantage, and he's already threatening to move in. Just keeps that napalm flowing. A little bit low on mana, so he's not going to use it anymore.
Is he going for the chicken? Oh, no. I thought he was going for the chicken snipe. Maybe right now. I don't know if he knows that the chicken is going to be slow.
He has no boots.
He has no boots, but the chicken is at 245 move speed. 1437 is going to get it.
5 seconds. And he gets the bash for the BM. Got him. Kills it the courier with the bottle on it. And there's no way Sumail's happy about that.
It was right before 3 minutes too, so he had a pretty small
And they were
window.
just standing by with money on the Ogre, as well as the Warlock ready. So they definitely would have upgraded it immediately.
Maybe need some more ancient stacks on the Dire for Dusa. I don't know when she's going to start picking up split shot. No points in it as of yet. Opting for 1 point of stats instead to complement the mana shield and help her last hitting out.
SS has gone for the 0-2-2 build, so very mobile. Not much more difficult to kill for Universe now.
Yeah, when he died, yeah, that's a good build to go.
The way you said that, I was like, wait, is he dying again?
When he died,
But he died!
like one death in lane is just, it just completely ruins the balance because no
Especially
supports
in
are
a
going to go
1v1.
up there. Yeah, in a 1v1 like this, like if you die once, you just need to make sure that it doesn't keep on happening. And it's a very safe build that it should be very difficult for Universe to keep snowballing off of and go crazy this game. And yeah, your CS is going to suffer a little bit, but that's what you get for dying first.
Yeah, Mojo. He might be in a little trouble here. He'll just timber away after the flame break. Guess there's not too much kill potential without a lasso. 1437 deciding where to roam. He has not really been focused much on this bottom lane, and that is allowing Arteezy to farm really well, as you mentioned, having a great start, blocking that camp early. He's at 24 CS, matching him nearly as Sumail in the mid lane, who's roughly breaking even with Envy, but you couple the Jug winning bottom in terms of farm and that lane generally going well, with MSS also getting killed. This Universe is not 6 yet, but he's threatening MSS. As soon as that lasso's up, MSS is actually in danger of dying to this. They'll chain all the way out and away, but yeah,
He's still chasing.
He's still going for this? All right. Still going. Has another flame break. Who dives this? Who does this?
He has 8 stacks with the new flame break. Oh my goodness.
And he's dead.
Yeah.
Universe. What a god.
Well, he knows. He might think the new flame break's a buff with that.
Potentially. They get the kill on Dusa mid, though. Big rotation by, I was going to say FYM, but by 1437 and SPG there. Combining with Envy, they dive the tower. They will secure the kill on the Dusa. Still, though, Universe single-handedly making this game very difficult for NP. As they charge Arteezy, bench stunned, set up from long range. He had the Mango Blade Fury, but didn't get it off in time. And now with one more bash, they'll definitely get this kill. They don't get it, though. They'll make it out barely.
Universe has also gone for Arcane Boots. I have not seen this build on Batrider.
This is the build that Moo has been favoring a lot on the Batrider. I know casting with CCNC, and he brought it up for complexity.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I guess it's really good if you're safe lane solo, because he has some HP regen from the Mango, an extra healing self to boot, and you could skill Lasso at 6 and not have mana issues.
He actually did aggressive dual lane, Moo did on the bat.
With Arcanes?
They had an IO that game, so
okay.
I guess trying to take advantage of the tether a bit more, maybe.
It's a lot of commitment, though, but he's probably spamming Napalm a lot, and he also went for 1 point in Flame Break early, so he does need a lot of mana in this lane.
I mean, they also went aggro tri-lane, so their supports are not going to be farming too much, so maybe that's a consideration here as well.
Yeah, that's also true.
But either way, MSS has been thoroughly forced out of the lane now as 2 kills by Universe, both solo, and now the Lasso is online, so even easier to find the follow-up ones.
I wonder what build he's going to go for after this. Like, how early do you get Aether Lens with this build, if at all? And I guess it's easy to transition into BOTs if it's that sort of game. But do you still get drums? Do you get raindrops? Do you even need the mana regen from
Guessing
raindrops?
not drums. It seemed like, especially with all the nerfs, you're really just getting it for the int more and a little bit of move speed more than anything. But I feel like it loses a lot of value when you don't need the mana.
Yeah.
Raindrops, maybe. Although NP have a lot of pure and physical damage, so not sure you get those either. I'd imagine probably the early blink, but yeah, I do like the fact that you can disassemble it into BOTs. So you get a little extra late game value there.
I don't think you need early blink though versus Avenge. I think like the part of the play style that people use as Batrider against a Vengeful Spirit is relying on Firefly damage, and you don't really need blink to get in position with Firefly. And 1437
gets charged, Blade Fury committed. He goes right into the Lasso there. A vacuum in from Universe will secure the kill. EG looking good as they begin to siege this tier 1, and Arteezy with the Omni Slash commitment there to help get the kill.
Yeah, now they have Iron Talon up on the Terror Blade. So like, who's gonna kill people for them? Who's gonna create space so that enemy can farm?
Hey, don't doubt the Sunder ganks, Ben. This is where the Dagon comes out and the real fun begins.
Silver Edge again in the Dagon?
Silver Edge Dagon. Let's go. I don't think that's happening. They do have the safe lane Venge, so I imagine it'll be Owie come mid game combining with the Spirit Breaker. But if you're using your swap to initiate, that means Universe can have his way with you when he counter ganks.
Yeah, they need to turn some fights around with the Omni Knight, I think. It's probably their best bet. Like, wait for someone to get lassoed, heal, repel, and turn that around. But with the way that Universe has been farming, he can get a blink early and just kill the Omni Knight every time.
They're starting to siege this tower a bit as the creep wave gets dragged back by Envy. Metamorph on cooldown, though, for a minute and a half. Chipping away bottom as well. Tier 1 there, about a third of its health gone. Sumail still standing strong in the mid lane, though. You mentioned Ancient stacks. We don't see any yet for either team.
Yeah, he's ready to fight. He has 4 points in Mystic Snake and hasn't picked up Stone Gaze yet, but I would be surprised if he didn't pick it up at 8.
It's really synergistic with the Omni Slash as well.
Yeah, it's really good for Spirit Breaker too, because like a Spirit Breaker, you don't want to cancel your charge after you're like almost there. She pops Stone Gaze, but it just ruins all of your momentum.
So Universe almost has the blink. Looks like he is saving for that. And then for EG, they'll have the tempo control. Can look to get aggressive here. Venge does have swap as she has a core, but Venge can't always be everywhere. And if Envy's out farming too far on his own, or potentially even MSS, that could be an easy lasso kill. See a timely Invis rune for Universe. But doesn't, well, I say timely, doesn't quite have the blink just yet. But he's not going to wait for it. He's going to move on towards mid, and MSS dangerously low. Almost out of mana here. It has a couple stick charges to work with. But if he sticks around for another wave, he's likely going down, and there was no Radiant Vision of this. Not looking great for Mojo. Universe continue to sneak around. Envy up on the high ground. No Venge in position, and there's the lasso. They're going to pull MSS back in. And Deuce will try to focus him down. Follow-up stun is there, and Flame Break as he tries to chain away. There's the heal, though. Repel comes in. They couldn't kill him in time. Universe suddenly wants to run, but the Bash was going to prevent it. Charge in for 1437. And Universe is going to go down a scant 75 gold away from his blink.
Omni Knights. So good at turning those fights around.
And they also have the Venge who can, so... If EG are diving into NP, that is where they have to be real cautious about the potential for fights being flipped on their heads.
If he had Stone Gaze on Sumail instead of the 1-point split shot, I think they would have had that, though. He could have gotten in position so that, like, even if he heals and repels, they will either get slowed or turned into stone. But with the split shot, he can do this neutral farming that he's doing right now, in between the two camps.
Yeah, so he retreats to the jungle, and EG are going to look to get their support level 6s here. Zai, very close to his own. Arteezy was off in the woods. Crick going to join this lane.
Zai has a tome.
Bloodlust on the tower. So yeah, they're going to have the rock for this upcoming fight.
Yeah, he just popped it.
No lasso, though. Or, oh, sorry, no blink lasso, I should say. Lasso in 15.
They probably see the 6. Anytime after 10 minutes, you have to worry about the supports getting 6. So they likely know that Warlock's trying to make use of it right now, despite them not having lasso. Lasso is up now, but Universe, as you mentioned, was just measly 75 gold, and will have to burn another Firefly in another minute to get his Blink Dagger. And Radiant use scan, so I think they expect the rock to be dropped over here. Problem is, like, if you don't fight, they'll just keep going. Generally, like, they'll just keep pressuring, keep fighting until they actually do use it. So at some point, you do have to fight the rock.
Yeah, that was the old LGD International Luna strat, where they'd go aggro tri-lane with the Eclipse, and like they're like, yeah, we don't actually want to use Eclipse. We just want the enemy to get scared of fighting us and take free towers off of it. So it's the threat sometimes more than the actual ability here in Dota 2. Dragonlance picked up on Envy, though. Good news for NP is that he's actually doing real well in terms of net worth, Ben. He's at 6K. He's ahead of the Dusa in terms of CS as well as net worth. And so it seems like that mid lane didn't affect him too much. There's a charge, but it's countered by the lasso, which in turn is countered by a swap. Then the rock comes in. Good positioning there on the ultimate. The Omni ult in turn to try and be the trump card for that Warlock ult. They haven't gotten a kill yet here on the side of EG, but they're looking for MSS. The Omni doing way too much work, and Arteezy's like, stop it, SPG, with a 300 range melee attack. Will finish him off. One last auto to get the job done. Envy was not there for that fight, so he does roam in now, but they lost 2 for 1. They got the Batrider kill after the Blink Dagger was already purchased.
Sumail was in a really good position for the gaze there, and Arteezy too with the behind the lines Omni.
They're going to take this tower, it looks like. Tier 1 down, but it's denied by Envy. Fairly easy to pull that off with 190 damage to work with. Charge coming in, 1437. Not able to Nether Strike. It is on cooldown, so they'll back off there. And EG quickly deploying the healing ward. So with the way the game's developing, Ben, it does seem like EG is able to take team fights, turn those into towers. What is NP looking to do moving forward? They're very single target heavy as far as their control goes. Are they ganking? Are they split pushing? What's their game plan?
Win team fights. That's what Omni Knight's about. He's not a split pusher.
Oh, there's the swap. That's one way to get started is MSS charges in, but the Blade Fury committed by Arteezy to try and get himself back to safety. MSS in real far. Going to chain himself away, though. There's little control to keep him in place.
They're not really that scared because Rock's down and Stone Gaze just came off cooldown, so they know that they don't have that strong of a fight. But just an Ogre kill is not going to yield you that mid tower. And you have to contest their Ancient stacks, too. There is a tri-stack up for Medusa right now, and it's very common for her to farm Ancients, and they should know that, and they should be wary. However, without that mid tier 1 tower down, they're not going to be able to actually fight that. And they don't have that long before Warlock ulti is up again.
Yeah, also bear in mind Repel was very effective in that last fight, but there is a Jug here who's farming real well, so at some point got to expect an Arteezy Diffusal Blade, and for Omni Knight to struggle a lot more to have an impact. Bench picked up the Dragonlance, so both cores tanking up here for NP. Not easy lasso kills by any means, and Bench with pretty good armor, 11 base, +2, 13, so Omni Slash is not a reliable way to bring her down. Everyone's getting a Dragonlance now. Sumail picks one up as well.
They just need to kill the Omni Knight. But it's very hard with the fail-safe from the Vengeful Spirit, however. Until you have the Diffusal. But EGR content as is. MP aren't really farming with Omni Knight. Like Timbersaw, he's still pretty far behind.
So how overall this pace of the game, the Rock was on cooldown, but it is up now. Do EG need to be forcing things? Are they content just farming H-hits and trying to go late with their lineup?
They have Dusa on their side. With Dusa, time's always on your side.
Is there any hero against whom you don't want to go late with the Dusa?
Sometimes anti-mage, but even then it's generally not that big a deal depending on the rounding out cast, but I think she is probably the best late gamer that you can ask for. There's some other things like I guess Luna with like SD is pretty strong too, but in general you're never really scared about going late with Dusa unless she's your only core. But they have Juggernaut as well. So.
And they've got a strong supporting cast plus the Bloodlust.
Plus Bloodlust, yeah, that's going to be incredibly difficult to deal with. They might look to get like Manta Diffusal at some point on the Terrorblade, purge off the Bloodlust for one, and secondly burn mana. So like the Diffusal does like almost double damage versus Medusa because you're burning so much of her mana per hit.
Arteezy not afraid of the Spirit Breaker ganking him, just confidently split pushing. 1437 is going for that Midas build once again. Necro 3 maybe not a bad choice this time either versus the Dusa.
Necro 3, it's not your item of choice though, just because Stone Gaze like owns your summons so hard. She'll just Stone Gaze and just kill them. So they have to look for other ways to bring her down.
Diffusal Breaker?
I think more like, I don't actually know what you get. Maybe a Vlad's would be pretty good for them. I think he picked one up last game. No, actually he didn't. He wasn't the one that picked it up. Someone picked it up last game. But I think it'd be pretty good for them. What else would you get? Medallion's pretty good.
Is that item even in the game anymore? We don't see any Medallion. We don't see Solar Crest. We don't see Medallion.
Yeah. I still really like Solar Crest.
I actually want to know the build rate on that item in competitive. It's got to be like less than 5% at least.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
I mean, I don't really miss it because it used to be like every game you'd see Medallion because it just worked so well on Roche and built into the Solar Crest, which used to be utterly absurd.
The item's definitely underutilized. But now the Ancients start farming. Like the net worth in between Dusa and Terrorblade is going to close very quickly at this rate.
What's the Jug build this game?
Manta Diffusal.
Okay. So yeah, he's at least got one of those, either the Diffusal or the completed Manta. Up to 4k gold. He's still saving though.
He could buy the Diffusal now or buy Manta first and then Diffusal, but I'm pretty positive it's going to be Manta Diffusal, just not sure which order. It depends on when they want to fight. Like he has the Aegis now. They want to fight, but are MP actually going to fight them? And you slow down your farm a lot if you get Diffusal and you don't actually use it. You might as well just pick up another farming item and then picked up a Diffusal. Like he could even go for a Battle Fury right now if he just thinks NP is not going to fight at all. Okay, he picked up something. He bought a... He did go for Battle Fury. So, like, that's... Like, you have to play based on what you think the opponents are going to do. If they're fighting right now, you get Diffusal. If they're fighting 5 minutes, you get Manta, then Diffusal. If they're fighting in 20 minutes, you get Battle Fury, Diffusal, Manta. So, it's just all how you think the game's going to play out. There's been 9 kills in 20 minutes. A little bit slow paced, but NP don't want to make the move. They have the Iron Talon on Terrorblade. They want to farm. They're not really that strong right now because Universal had a crazy good start, and they have a lot of items to just like isolate this Omni Knight right now. Like NP, like they also have to be wary of Diffusal. Like if they pick it up right now, they're just not in fighting shape. And now they probably see the Battle Fury coming out soon or already on Juggernaut, but like do you really want to fight in the Aegis at this point? So NP are kind of racked with bad decisions as to how to approach the next few minutes of the game.
And they're running a core Venge, so it's not like their late game is looking particularly impressive on paper. They'll have solutions to the repel eventually. MSS had a rough start, so you can't really rely on him as much. Still struggling to catch up. And that really puts a lot of pressure on
smoke.
Mr. EE Sama. But EG, as you mentioned, under smoke and looking for a pick off here. They're going to find 1437. Omni/End Lasso. No hesitation. A quick, clean kill for them. And then they'll just barbecue out the mid lane.
And now they're just expanding their territory to farm. Now that Arteezy has the Battle Fury, they can farm both set of Ancients quite easily with both of their cores. And now they'll just continue to scale up. Like, Timbersaul's like, okay, but he has Bloodstone. But, like, later game, he's just going to get destroyed by the Medusa. He just does not have the damage output to kill the Medusa. Medusa requires, like, a lot of physical damage, a lot of mana burn, and or kiting, but they don't really have that many ways to disable her. Like, Spirit Breaker can only do so much. Because
Speaking of Dusa, there's your Eye of Scotty pickup for Sumail.
Yeah.
EG is really gearing up for late game here. They can get the bots on Universe once they disassemble these arcane boots. Like,
they have better late game, so why not? Yeah. They're just playing it safe.
I mean, what is the timing for NP then? When do they look to go? They've got Hurricane Pike on Aoi. They just completed a Manta on NV.
I don't think you really go into EG's lineup. Like, if you win a fight, you're still not... unless you, like, completely wipe them, you're not going to be able to siege high ground. You still have to deal with a Medusa who, like, on high ground with a Dragon Lance with Mystic Snake will generally shut down any push that you're going to throw your way. So, like, they just have to farm. That is their late game, is just farming their way up into it. Make sure that they can control Ancients. That's probably the best thing they can do. Because EG smoked and clearly wanted to control that area. And
we have not seen a gank in some time. 1437. You can see on a single Radiant action, aside from just taking some towers for about 6-7 minutes here. Much to the liking of EG, now with the max Bloodlust. Universe already completing the 4 staff, a little extra gold in reserve, up to 400 there. Arteezy, another 2.1k. So yeah, it's feeling like EG is going to win in terms of the farm war, and that's where NP would like to make a move with the charge, but charge is not the most reliable initiation, Ben. Certainly not compared to a Blink Lasso. They have not been finding openings with Theban.
Alternatively, they can try and play it more greedy than EG. Like, get a HOD up on the Vengeful Spirit and stack Ancients themselves. That would be okay for them, but I think if they do that, you're just
it's getting pretty late to do that.
It is, but it is still an option. I don't know how long they want to take it, but if you want to compete for the farm, you got to go for greedy items.
Yeah, they're not getting a Midas on SVG or anything like that. They just have the 1 Midas on the Spear Breaker, so we're not going to see like the triple, quadruple Midas strat. Even the Dubala. They're going to move on towards mid. EG smoked up though. Universe looking for a lasso on Envy. Oh, this will be a big kill. And he will get caught out here. Tries to slow him down with the refraction, but gets isolated and has... Oh, actually almost got the Sunder off there. Probably dies anyway, but might have bought time for his team to follow up. Not going to happen though. And yeah, you could just see the difference between trying to initiate with charge and initiating with a Blink Lasso. Not really comparable. So EG, sure they could farm this and go late, and they're going to try to back this strat up with a Midas. Fully purchased by Zai, now coming out. But all the while, EG just hammering on the mid lane. That will be the Manta for Arteezy. So still not getting the defusal, but hey, you can't repel those structures, and that's exactly what EG are busy hitting right now. Wailing away at it. That's another way to deal with the charge, the Manta. So
they're wasting time though. They're wasting valuable time they could be farming. And Arteezy might be in a little bit of trouble here. He is at the enemy Ancients under vision with no Aegis anymore. But he's okay. He kills him too quickly.
They just don't have great catch though.
No,
like even with the charge, if you just Manta properly, you can. And we've seen Arteezy Manta dodges really consistently.
Yeah, they just need to protect those Ancients so they can farm it themselves. It's like going to be a big loss if EG can continuously farm them over and over again.
Here comes the smoke from NP. It was not directly scouted, but they do have a lane ward, and they saw 3 heroes move up into that region. Already backing
really
off.
want to go on Dusa?
Well, they're going to try for it. 1437, he gets the charge into an instant bash, and then he tries to force out the Stone Gaze.
No way.
Yeah. EG saying, come on, come at us, please. And Envy is going to try to cooperate here by coming in. The lasso, I didn't actually see what he caught there. 1437 caught up on the high ground. Now the ultimate coming out from the Warlock, trying to lock down AI 2000. Will finish him off. Envy being dealt with by the Dusa. Well, meanwhile, 1437 roasts, and MSS now trying to run away. Timber Chain up to the high ground. Envy dropping low, has the Sunder. Was about to be ripped apart. He tries to get it out. Arteezy with the Manta holding on to it for a long time, and Envy will finally get that Sunder off. Still going to go down 3 heroes dead. MSS now chaining back, and will blink up. He gets another kill, turning the Juggernaut into Chop Suey, but does he make it out? I don't know about that. Sumail going to slow him down, taking the rest of his mana away. And now Universe, blinks in the heal counterplay by SVG. A nice pick off there. 2 bonus kills for NP. Looked like it would have been an easy 3-for-1, but MSS and SVG coming up big. The 3-letter men making plays here. It will end up ultimately being a 3-for-3. I thought that was going to be a lot worse for NP. What did he lasso, by the way? I couldn't even tell.
He tried to lasso Envy, and then Envy manted, and then I think he lassoed something, and then it got swapped.
Okay.
But
and then Spirit Breaker somehow ended up on the high ground. That was a weird fight.
I think he got Flame Break?
Flame Break?
No,
or like charged up there?
I think he ulted up there? I'm not sure. It was
a little strange, but...
Regardless, this fight shows that Medusa can do whatever she wants in a fight. She is going to be just untouched. Even if she gets sundered, I still think she lives. Like
Well, she's about to get a Lincoln, so good luck even sundering her. And then with the Lincolns, can split push more freely. Is more resistant to the Venge initiation as well.
They just need her to get like if her next damage item is a damage item, I think they can just straight tank through the GA. They just counter GA with Stone Gaze, so that you're pretty much trading cooldown for cooldown, and I think GA is a little bit stronger in that regard, so you're not losing as much as Dusa, and then Dusa just stands there, and everyone has to run away on MP. They can't disable her long enough.
Well, you could tell NP were fairly desperate to take a fight as they initiated on the Dusa.
Yeah.
To start it, and it was deep in dire territory. Did not work out. And to further protect her, Universe grabbing the plate mail, so likely Lotus Orb en route.
Or Shiva's.
Maybe Shiva's.
I think either is fine.
Actually, versus TV, Shiva's is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, I mean, it's not just the 2 carries who are going to go late here. It's certainly the Bat Rider. The Warlock has a Midas. Not looking good for NP in a farm war.
Yeah, this is before the Diffusal Blade comes out too on the Jug. Terrorblade was allowed to stay alive for a very long time because of the repel, but without that, he's gonna have to burn from Universe.
Might even force him to go into a BKB. It's actually Envy who grabs the Diffusal Blade for now.
Yeah, it's necessary versus Medusa. Medusa is just way too tanky, and Vengeful Spirit just cannot. The hero is just not built for one-on-one-ing with Medusa. So you need other sources of damage to chew through her massive mana pool. And if you go something else, like let's say Chrysalis, you're just not addressing the problem. You'll kill everyone else, but if Medusa is left alive, she will kill everyone else on the team. So it's not one of the things where it's like, okay, we'll just ignore her and then kill everyone else. She's past that point where you can just ignore her. Well, especially with Bloodlust.
Another free Roche, and this time there's not a trade for NP, aside from just farming the jungle. They don't have tier 1s or 2s to knock down. That's the Aegis onto Arteezy, so both cores extremely difficult to kill now, and really not your ideal targets to be focusing. But then who do you focus? The extremely farmed Bat Rider, the Ogre, who isn't really a big deal if he dies, or the Warlock, who so far had very good positioning. Haven't seen Zai getting caught too much. 1, 0, and 6. Actually, I haven't seen him getting caught at all.
You try and kill Jug, I think. I think you can burst Jug
But he's got
down.
Aegis, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
That's the tough part.
Yeah, well, Dusa shouldn't die. Like, even if she gets swapped in, you just drop Rock and Stone Gaze, and then MP has to run away. Bat Rider would be the best, but he has Blink Dagger, and it's very difficult to catch out. Yeah, one of the supports would be great. Warlock would be ideal. He's like the easiest target to kill if he's in a slightly bad position. But they don't have a hero to like blink in there and kill him. Timbersaw can blink in, but he can't kill the 1240 HP Warlock.
Radiant scan in a normal smoke pathway, but EG took a slightly different one. They went up and around it, so they're not scouted directly here. That's going to cause NP to continue pushing out the bottom lane for a little bit longer. 1437, he's waiting to break that smoke from the looks of it.
I think they saw him, however, with the ward. He was a little bit to the left earlier.
Does Universe want to dive that deep for a Space Cow? Tougher
Not
meat.
worth. If it were Omni Knight, yes.
Necro Book it is.
All right. Well, they want to try and deal with the Medusa, but it's just tough with the Necro Book. Like, I don't know. Those things just die so quickly. If it's on a core, I think it's fine because your Necro Book will be strong relative to the Medusa. But 30 minutes in, a Necro 1 versus the Medusa, who's working on her third item, which is going to be Maelstrom, like it's just incredibly underwhelming.
Well, they're just going to start hammering away at structures here. Kind of feels like we're seeing the Repel Siege, but from the wrong lineup. And they are going to go for the swap. Arteezy, quick to react, but he gets Nether Strike and will be finished off. And now they look for a bit more. 1437, lassoed and punished in turn. And now the Rock Drop right as Arteezy respawns, so they can't focus him down or change stun him again. They commit the GA. It didn't actually hit MSS, who jumps in, but without that extra bit of assistance, and now the Stone Gaze. The turnaround potentially coming here with the Warlock channeling a level 3 upheaval. They're going to lock down SVG. Can they finish him off? He's not dead just yet. Arteezy spinning towards him, but getting muscled down by the Vengeful Spirit. Auto attacks, almost dead. MSS will finish him off there. Great Timber Chain. And now with the Stone Gaze down, the real fun could begin for NP, though. They're out of mana, and MSS in a bit too far. Surrounded by 4, but they don't have the best single target burst. They're not able to finish him off without Arteezy. He's going to survive through this. EG have to end their siege. They don't get a Rax. They only brought down a tier 3. That was a really well-executed fight by NP.
Jug didn't get his ultimate off, and also they didn't have high ground vision. They needed to pop down a ward, I think. Like maybe if they could have popped it down like right before the rock or right after the Stone Gaze, it would have been perfect for them. But their supports weren't in a position to do so, and they also don't have any wards on them. So, like he didn't have the vision to Omni slash to Omni Knight. And then if he can do that, then he can just spin away. But he like took a lot of damage spinning in because they have a lot of right click damage. The Vengeful Spirit with the way of the Terror and the Terror Blade like beating on the Juggernaut is going to die to right click because he went for Mantis Diffusal, not a more tanky build.
Yeah, no Scotty, no Butterfly, at least not yet.
Yeah, not even an SNY. SNY is like pretty decent for HP, but there. And he sold his Aquila so he could pick up his Diffusal. So not even the extra armor from that.
Well, looking a bit more stable for NP, but it's still worth mentioning. Like they lost the Rex, or sorry, the tier 3 there, and they weren't really able to get anything in turn after that fight. So while it was a good fight, doesn't necessarily mean they're coming back. They are hanging on for now. Lasso, though, is going to isolate 1437 up top. They're going to multicast him, try to focus him down, but he might be able to charge out of here. Flame Break already been used, and he will almost get away. Not quite, though. Close call.
Not quite.
That last Deuce auto attack chasing him down. Still, after that fight, MSS, and along with the kill top and surviving, man, he has come back really well, Ben. He had a terrible laning stage, gave up 2 solo kills to Batrider. Now he's 5-2-2. He's up there in net worth. He completed a Lotus Orb, 17 Bloodstone charges, Blink BOT.
That's the second time he's been able to just blink and kill Jug after the spin. So those 2 kills like helped him out so much.
And they don't really have the best control for Timber once the lasso has been committed. Could be a game where MSS looks to take over late, but he does have to wait out the Stone Gaze, potentially the Blade Fury and Omni Slash.
Yeah, the thing is he's going to build up.
Patient.
He will build up a lot of reactive stacks, so that's the thing. So he is very, very difficult to kill. There's no real good way for them to burst him down at all. Maybe Omni Slash, but Juggernauts doesn't really do that much damage. He went for a Blink Dagger though, so he doesn't just die trying to spin in again.
Yeah, can split push more aggressively, can play a little more safely in the fights. This crit, almost finding Envy.
They know Envy too well.
Always wants that last like extra little bit, you know, gotta wring the rag dry and get every ounce of farm you can out of the map, but he does the math correctly, makes it out. Just a half second too fast for crit there.
They're trying to go for the GG push right now. GG pickoff.
Dire's top tower.
Medusa has her Mjolnir completed and hits very hard. Arteezy can easily catch the Omni Knight out with a blink into an Omni Slash. and the defusal if a GA comes out, and it looks like they may be able to catch one of these two on the top side of the map. AUI has a Lincoln's. It's not very great versus the Omni Slash, which looks like it's about to happen on top of him.
Oh, the blink lasso initiation. He already committed it though on the Lincoln Sphere just to try and catch AUI out. There's no follow-up just yet. Moving with the Omni Slash onto 1437. He'll slice him up. He'll take the Necro Book as well, so extra gold.
They didn't know the Linkos was up, so it helped prevent the lasso right there, which would have been a pretty big pick for them.
Yeah, still losing one and the Necro Book, so some extra gold. Sumail up to 2K now. The NP do continue to farm. We see 6K gold on Envy. What is the Terror Blade item this game? Normally we see like Butterfly, sometimes Scotty, I suppose.
I think Butterfly's the build. I think he needs as much damage as possible as the Terror Blade, especially when you have an Omni Knight on your side. I think you have to YOLO it a little bit.
Well, you've got an Omni Knight, Ben. Why not get a Rapier?
Because Rapier is sadly terrible on Illusion Heroes.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I don't know how much his illusions are going to be doing in these fights. I guess we'll see, but for the most part, it feels like the Dusa has just completely shut down anything except the main hero.
Yeah. Well, that's why you get Butterfly. She doesn't have MKB yet.
That's true. Does opt for the Crystallis, so Sumail not going to have the slot for it unless he wants to get rid of the Dragonlance.
So Scotty's the more standard build.
Or the boots. I mean, I say get rid of the Dragonlance. We've seen a lot of bootsless heroes as of late.
Deuce is a pretty great bootless hero. You're generally not moving around that much in fights.
Yeah, they've got the Force Staff to shove her, double Force Staff to just shove her into the fray.
They also have Upheaval to keep enemies in place.
Could definitely work out. So EG getting prepped for a potential Roshan as the universe scours the enemy jungle, looking for any sort of lasso pick-off potential. Doing a bit of farming here, but not going to find anything. He's doing a good job of controlling the map, though, and we'll deal with these illusions fairly easily.
Timber, that's an Axe. Most farmed hero on the Radiant side.
Is that what you want, though, compared to
He needs damage.
the Terrorblade?
I think it's fine. He can still do damage through the Stone Gaze, and he's the only hero on the team that can do so. So I think it's okay if he's this invested. And he can also just chew through the Juggernaut and his illusions, which is very important for MP winning fights.
Now EG fully occupying the enemy jungle and just waiting for Roche to respawn. It looks like Sumail. No new items beyond that Crystallis just yet. And we do see Arteezy grabbing the ultimate orb. So we'll have to see. Is this a Lincoln's? Is this a Scotty?
I would... actually, I don't know which one I prefer for him.
I mean, the only other thing I could think of is like a Silver Edge for the reactive armor, but
Nah,
that feels kind of niche.
way too late for that. I think Scotty, because he keeps dying. I guess Lincoln's is also there to prevent deaths, but he has a Hurricane Pike to pop the Lincoln Sphere.
So I think it is Butterfly. Oh wait, no, sorry, he got a Scotty and has 2K gold now.
Yeah. The Lincoln's didn't save him last fight, so. And looks like Zai is going for Lincoln, Lotus Orb. Very important.
That's the benefit of having that early support Midas. And compared to that 1437 with the Necro Book, hasn't had too much of an impact with this item. 1 and 6, a far cry from his performance last game.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred like more supporty items, like Solar / Vlad's to aid in the armor department, because both of those help with the Medusa. The Necro helps offensively versus Medusa, but not defensively, which is what I think they need a lot more. Just because, like, if your cores don't have uptime on the Medusa, she's still gonna live. It doesn't matter if the Necro Book's on her or not. It's like those would add maybe like if everyone's attacking the Medusa and she's just sitting there, those would maybe add like 10-15% damage. As opposed to like the cores, which make up the large bulk of draining her mana shield.
EG gonna storm down mid now with their freshly snagged Aegis.
Oh god,
and
Medusa
MP.
with that
are going to be on the high ground with the unenviable task of trying to hold the base. But this time they don't have a tier 3. Already Sumail's starting to work on the range racks here, and it's dropping quickly. Lotus Orb committed relatively early in the fight by MSS.
It's the safe way to siege.
And yeah, they're just going to all sit way back. No easy initiation. It was only Lady Dusa, and normally this would be slow, but she's so farmed that it's rather quick. Goes for the Venge stun to break that Lincoln Sphere, but now the Lotus Orb quickly deployed to protect Sumail. They can wait for these cooldowns to reset. They've already brought this melee down by half, but no, they're not going to wait. They continue to siege. Fresh Bloodlust available. Will be lobbed out now, and MSS blinking in, trying to deal with the Dusa, slicing into her just a little bit with the Whirling Death, but it's simply not enough damage to force her away. Owie, this time the swap comes out. The Lotus was just a split second late, and it looks like Sumail on the run now. They quickly pop the Aegis. They're looking for more. MSS has done huge work in this fight already. 14:37 in from behind, but now the Rock comes in. Can that turn the tides? The Stone Gaze now committed at long last right as the Omni ult is blown. Almost out of mana. Sumail trying to hold the line. An excellent defense so far by NP, but they did lose the racks. They've got to find some kills here. Hurricane Pike forward into a Venge stun. Will isolate Zai. The quick turn by Sumail. MSS trying to lunge into the backlines, but he is out of mana nearly. Sumail, can they kill him before he TPs away? Doesn't look like it. He'll make it out. Zai not so fast. He goes down. A 1-for-1, but also racks claimed here by EG. So overall, not an easy siege, but it was a successful one. And now we will hunt the scraps here, looking for the Warlock. Look at that. We're now going to see an Orchid coming out for Sumail, so there's your counter to any evasion or mischance. With the Chrysalis also picked up.
It's still not that great versus Repel, however. I don't know who he's going to Orchid. I guess he can Orchid the Omni Knight. Because Terrorblade has Manta and Diffusal, 2 ways out of it. Timbersaw has Lotus. Vengeful Spirited, I don't really think you want to cast it on her. I guess you can pop the Lincolns with it if you so desire, but Omni Knight is the main target, but he might have Greaves soon. It's a good damage item, and it's it's expensive, which is good for Medusa, because you're slot limited at this point, so you want as expensive as items as possible.
Yeah, after this, it's going to be basically down to a Moon Shards, no boots, and maybe replacing the Dragon Lance or upgrading it to a Hurricane Pike, so still some options, but it's running out of item slots. At the same time, though, EG, they got 1 lane of racks with that Aegis. So it feels like at this pace, they could just wait for the next one. They'll have another item on Dusa. Jug will be close to 7 slotted as well, and then they go for the second lane.
I think she really needs Butterfly, though. Butterfly is like so good versus Vengeful Spirit and Terrorblade because they're all physical damage. So you have a lot of evasion, and you have a ton of armor from the agility. And you do a lot more damage. That's my personal preference for items, but I'm not sure what he's going to get after this Bloodthorn. Could be BOT's 2s, but I don't know. I don't really think they have trouble pushing out the lanes right now.
Man, that is a stacked Dusa.
Yeah.
Jesus. And that's not even factoring in the Bloodlust, which is a big buff to her. Not to mention the synergy that Dusa has with Fatal Bonds, doing so much AoE damage with the split shot.
Yep. And Upheaval, I think, synergizes really well with her, too. Like, you have Stone Gaze to keep him in place for however long they decide to turn around for, and then you have Upheaval afterwards so that she doesn't get kited. But I don't know, I guess she doesn't really get kited right now because she's attacking the racks, so they're forcing them to come to her.
Butterfly grabbed by the Jug, so Arteezy nearly finished farming at this point.
Yeah, I think it's time for them to end the game with the next Aegis if they want to wait that long. And I think they at least can take a second set of racks quite easily. Just approach it the same way like they did last time. The slow siege into the Lotus Orb with the Lincoln Spear on the Medusa, and probably have an Aegis as a failsafe just in case he gets swapped in like last time with a Pike to pop the Lincolns.
NP do smoke up now, trying to make a bold move forward, but EG already backing out. They do have a decent ward here to see that NP jungle is currently unoccupied, so they might be getting suspicious. They move up, Envy out in front. Does not have his Butterfly yet. And there you go. He's going to buy it. Split seconds before they run into Zai. Warlock may be down to start the fight. That could be huge. Does have the buyback available. Might have to use it as they commit forward. Sumail popping the Stone Gaze and all hell breaks loose. Omni Knight ult there to try and counter things. MSS, though, into the fight. And Warlock has fought back to re-engage. Drops the rock, tries to get to work, but AUI 2000 backs away for now. Envy being focused, but he manages to get up the Sunder. He survives, but can he lift around 2? A beautiful charge, but it's not enough from Theben. Still will lose the Terrorblade in the end, and no buyback available as he just bought that Butterfly. They brought down 3. MSS in danger now, trying to chain away desperately, looking to survive. AUI will TP out. But if they can't win there with a freshly picked up item, well, MSS, he's not done just yet. He's trying to go in. Arteezy will force him into a suicide. Seppuku, the only response to that level of physical damage. And you wanted to do some butterfly ban, you're going to get it soon. He's already up to 1100 gold with 2 components.
She's too strong. She just sat there almost the entire time of the fight and just right-clicking people.
EG looking pretty bleak for their opponents here, and if they win this game, we're guaranteed a 4-game series. Could even go the distance. Maybe we get that elusive Game 5. But even in defeat, potentially for this game, NP still looking like a staunch opponent for EG.
Yeah,
I know like a month or two ago, you know, a lot of people were kind of laughing at NP, saying, oh, they're overrated, they're washed up, but we're certainly seeing that is not the case.
They have a lot more, they have had a lot of drive, I think, especially with like the Boston Major regional qualifiers. Like they clearly really wanted to qualify.
And they're to me one of those stories of a team that like you know, there is burnout certainly exists and is a thing that some teams have to worry about, but for the most part, the teams that play the most tend to show the most improvement. Like OG is a perfect example of that. Like pre-Frankfurt Major, they played the most events of any team. They went on to win that event. Granted, in single elimination, they would have been knocked out very early, and that is the format for this major. But just in general, we've seen that the teams who put in the most time in online tournaments and pre-major events tend to have great results to show for it. NP has really benefited from all that experience. Brady Curry did get sniped.
By creeps.
Wasn't carrying anything, but not the biggest deal at this point, to be honest.
EG just need to win one more good fight before NP throw in the towel over here, and NP looking to prematurely fight them.
They get the swap on Sumail, and the Stone Gaze comes out. Oh, he caught a couple. This could get ugly. Arteezy holding on to the Omni Slash for now. Doesn't even need to use it. He's going to let it go right as the counter from the Omni Knight ult is attempted, but quickly will deal with those heroes. Now turning his attention back to Envy, who gets stunned and controlled. Can he get off a good Sunder? He's looking for the openings, but no! Crit is ready with the Lotus Orb. Where's your Sunder now, Envy? He's dead too. 3 have fallen. Oh, great play by the Ogre. And Mr. McGee is going to put a cherry on top here. As 4 have fallen. The last man standing. Can he get the job done? His MSS doesn't look like it. Make it 5. Anime has died here today in this particular set. They'll buy back on the one of 2 heroes that has it.
That Stone Gaze, though. I think he casted it before the swap right as soon as the smoke popped. That is a game-winning.
Because they have the swap Hex potentially. Now, that said, there's double Lotus Orb anyway, so...
They have to precast it, though, the
yeah.
Lotus Orb. Like, they generally, like...
well, can't you purge the Hex, though?
You can, but she's stunned. They, like... Right. They pike, swap... Pike to pop the Lincoln, swap, and then stun. And then after that, they use whatever they have. Like,
I guess it comes down to can they kill her before the stuns end?
Yeah,
at that point.
Before she's stun locked. Well, they'll like follow up with the charge and then like follow up with a greater bash.
I still don't know even then if it's enough because at least Warlock can drop the ulti presumably before she dies. But yeah, getting the Stone Gaze off just made it way easier.
We saw the one time in base where she got swapped to the T4s. She died very quickly. If everyone is on top of her.
And even if all that goes right, she still has buyback BOT. So NP really have their work cut out for them to win that team fight.
They can reset, though. Like, you'd probably lose Omni, I would say. Lose Omni and or Spirit Breaker. But if you force out a buyback and then just back off, they'd likely have committed Rock for that, too. So then you'd be in a pretty good spot. But, yeah, without killing Medusa, it's going to be really hard for them to kill her at this point. Like, another thing is that the Necrobook struggles versus the Butterfly. Like you want your cores to have MKB and whatnot to deal with her Butterfly, but she is just not really taking that much damage, especially with the Hex not breaking the evasion anymore.
And Envy's really out of slots here. AUI is just not farming enough. Didn't go for the Dominator, 35 minutes ago when you brought up the idea of it, and they just Timbersaw can only do so much. He's not really the best single target burst at this stage against tanky carries. He's more of an AoE damage dealer at this stage.
Hide in the trees, guys.
All right, they can Hurricane Pike into a swap, into a Hex.
If they see
But the Aegis is on Zai, so you can't go for him, and Universe is in good position here. He will back away. I think there was there's a Radiant scan, but an NP, smoke's going to wear off. They got to go home because our team...
They have an Observer Ward right on top of them. They scouted all of them going mid, though. So
Arteezy just hammering away on the melee. There's the swap. The Hex follow-up comes through, but now they're going to look to turn this around. Quick Lotus deployed, gets off the Stone Gaze, and they still have a rock. 10 seconds until it gets dropped. Not even necessary. Arteezy dealing with them, so even if they kill Sumail, they've got a bigger problem. It looks like that's the Juggernaut. They'll try to focus him down. Envy desperately charging in, but now might be on his way back home with the multicast comboed with the rock. Can he get up the Sunder? He tries for it. The Lotus Orbs are there. He can't use the Sunder because of the Lotus Orbs, countering the late game Terrorblade. The Omni Knight no longer a factor, and that's it. GG. We're going to a game 3 of this best of 5, tied up 1-1. We will get at least 4.
The mid picks on the losing side have just been strange. Like I think Terrorblade was very good in the high ground, like the high ground defenses that they mounted, but they can't end the game versus the Dusa with the Terrorblade. That's a strength part, and it doesn't really synergize that well with the Omni Knight. Or that's where I felt like happened this game to NP, and the Dusa just got out of control, like just way too farmed.
So biggest thing you would change, Ben, is it just the kind of timings that they ran on this game, or do you feel like draft-wise it wasn't a good matchup with how difficult the Dusa was to kill?
I think draft-wise it was a little bit too difficult, but also a little bit execution-based because they got too much farmer that supports this game. Like Zai had Midas and Lotus Orb. If they didn't have the Lotus Orb, they could swap into stun into Sheep, and then she would die without getting the Stone Gaze off. But because their support had that much farm, they can drop the rock into a Lotus Orb, and yeah, it was overall a better performance. And also the early game just went really poorly because MSS died twice solo to Universe.
Well, guys, that is game 2. Best of 5, guaranteed to get at least 2 more out of the series. EG and NP duking out here in the Dota Pit North American Grand Finals, looking for that elusive spot at the LAN to be held in Q1 2017. I'm LD, he's Merlini. This has been a Beyond the Summit presentation. We'll be back for game 3 in a moment.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.